The glute bridge, an exercise so commonly prescribed by physical therapists, trainers, and fitness experts that it might just be the most recommended move for building strength, improving flexibility, and protecting your lower back. And let's not forget, it also helps sculpt an impressive posterior. But here's the shocking truth. Over 90% of people are doing this exercise wrong. That means they're not only missing out on results, but they're also unknowingly putting stress on their lower back and hamstrings, leading to pain, tightness, and even injury. But the good news, with a few simple corrections, you can turn a bad glute bridge into one of the most powerful exercises in your routine. In this video, I'll break down the 4 biggest mistakes people make, how to assess whether you're doing it right using a biofeedback technique taught by one of the world's top spine specialists, and the exact steps to perfect your form for maximum strength and lower back protection. If you've ever felt more tension in your hamstrings or back than your glutes while doing this movement, stick around, because by the end of this, your glutes will finally fire the way they're meant to. To understand why the glute bridge is so important, we need to talk about the powerhouse of your body, the gluteus maximus. This is supposed to be the biggest and strongest muscle in the human body. It connects the pelvis to the back of your hip and is responsible for hip extension, meaning every time you walk, stand up from a chair, or pick something up off the ground, your glutes should be the primary driver of that movement. But here's the catch. Many people have weak or inactive glutes due to prolonged sitting, poor movement patterns, and lack of targeted activation. When the glutes don't fire properly, the body compensates by overusing the hamstrings and lower back muscles. Normally, the workload should be distributed with about 70% of force coming from the glutes, 20% from the hamstrings, and only 10% from the lower back. But in people with weak glutes, that balance gets completely thrown off. The hamstrings end up working overtime, leading to tightness, cramping, and even strains. The lower back takes on excessive stress, leading to chronic tension, compression in the lumbar spine, and increased risk of injury. This is why so many people complain about tight hamstrings that never seem to loosen up, lower back stiffness that never fully goes away, and a general lack of strength in their daily movements. In my years of working with thousands of patients, I've seen this same scenario play out again and again. Patients walk into my clinic complaining of chronic back pain, and almost every single time, I see them performing the glute bridge incorrectly, making the problem worse instead of better. But once they learn the proper form, not only does their back pain decrease, but their hamstrings feel looser, they move more efficiently, and they gain a newfound sense of power in their lower body. So what are the 4 most common mistakes people make when doing a glute bridge? Let's break them down, and then I'll walk you step by step through how to assess and correct your form. The first mistake starts with the feet. If your feet aren't positioned correctly, you'll automatically shift the load away from the glutes and into the hamstrings. Make sure your heels are close enough to your glutes. Ideally, you should be able to touch them with your fingertips. If your heels are too far away, your hamstrings will take over, making the exercise ineffective for glute activation. Also, ensure you have proper traction. Doing this on a slippery surface with socks on can cause unnecessary strain. Lastly, distribute your weight evenly through your feet, pressing into your heels, the outer edges, and, most importantly, the inside of your foot. Many people put too much pressure on the outer foot, which destabilizes the movement and reduces glute engagement. The second mistake is over-tucking the pelvis. While a slight posterior pelvic tilt can be beneficial, excessive tucking places unnecessary strain on the lower back and disrupts the neutral alignment of the spine. Instead of aggressively tucking, focus on engaging your core and pressing your lower back gently into the floor before initiating the movement. This creates a stable foundation without forcing your spine into an unnatural position. The third mistake is arching the lower back at the top of the bridge or overextending the movement. A proper glute bridge should form a straight line from your knees to your shoulders when at the top. If you push too high, you'll start compensating by hyperextending your spine and flaring your ribs, completely missing the point of the exercise. If you can't reach full hip extension without arching, that's okay. Work within your functional range and gradually improve over time while maintaining proper form. The fourth and final mistake is failing to activate the glutes. If you feel the exercise primarily in your hamstrings, quads, or lower back, it means your glutes aren't firing properly. To fix this, I use a biofeedback technique taught by Dr. Craig Liebenson, one of the top spine rehabilitation specialists. Place your hands on your glutes and contract them without moving. You should be able to feel the muscles engage under your fingertips. If you've struggled to feel anything, try pressing into your glutes with your fingers while attempting to push back against them. This tactile feedback helps wake up dormant muscles. Once you can consistently activate your glutes in isolation, integrate that activation into the bridge movement. To perform the perfect glute bridge, start in a correct position with your heels close to your glutes, feet evenly pressing into the ground, and core engaged. Before lifting, contract your glutes first. This ensures they initiate the movement instead of your hamstrings. Maintain this contraction as you lift your hips, stopping when your body forms a straight line from knees to shoulders.
shoulders. Keep your ribs down, avoid arching your lower back, and continue squeezing your glutes throughout. On the way down, resist gravity and slowly lower back to the starting position, keeping your glutes engaged until you reach the floor. Then relax and reset before the next rep. If you're still struggling to feel your glutes working, here are 4 techniques to supercharge your activation. First, try placing a foam roller or small object between your knees and gently squeezing it while performing the bridge. This activates the adductors, which work synergistically with the glutes. Second, use a resistance band around your knees and press outward against it. This engages the glute medius, helping stabilize the movement. Third, ensure your thighs remain parallel throughout the exercise, as widening your stance too much can reduce glute activation. And fourth, if your hamstrings are taking over, lift your toes slightly and focus on driving through your heels. Performing the glute bridge correctly not only builds stronger glutes, but also protects your lower back and improves overall movement efficiency. If you've been struggling with hamstring tightness or chronic lower back discomfort, fixing your bridge technique could be the missing piece. And remember, true strength and flexibility come not just from doing exercises, but from doing them properly. If you found this guide helpful, drop a comment below and let me know which correction made the biggest difference for you. Hit that like button, subscribe for more game-changing fitness insights, and I'll see you in the next video. Now go perfect that glute bridge.